The female's the largest and the most adventurous. Flapping her wings to strengthen them, she approaches the edge. But even she's thinking twice. It's a steep drop to the ground below. A crash landing. That wasn't in the flight plan. She could have broken her wing or flight feathers. Not quite the encouragement her two less confident brothers were looking for. But she has more immediate concerns. Wolves are on the prowl. Lacking the strength to take off vertically, she climbs back up the rocks to gain height for another attempt. And she's ready to try again. Success. Spurred on by their sister's achievement, the others seem a little braver. Now they're successfully fledged. It won't be long until all three leave their parents for good.
Crabs may not seem unusual, but there's one kind here that's like no other. On this little island in Vanuatu lives a real oddity. It's the largest terrestrial invertebrate on Earth. The robber crab. The biggest can weigh up to 4 kilograms, the same as a newborn baby, and have a leg span of 1 meter. It's a hermit crab on steroids. At night, the huge robbers really come alive. Although these crabs are found throughout the Pacific, it's only on undisturbed islands that you can see them in such numbers. Exactly why robber crabs have grown so big is a mystery. But with so few creatures making it to these remote islands, the giant crustaceans seem to have filled a niche normally taken by medium-sized mammals. And with almost no competition from other native animals, the crab's huge size allows them to make the most of another great colonizer, something found here in abundance. Coconuts are one of their favorite foods. It's why they're also called coconut crabs. And they've been known to carry them as far as 5 kilometers back to a favorite den. Robber crabs are perhaps the only animals in the world able to break into a coconut. The husk is ripped off by powerful pincers. Other legs drill through the germinating holes on the seed itself until the nut finally cracks. The whole process can take several hours, but the reward is a meal rich in protein. Robber crabs may rule the land, but they're no masters of the sea. An adult crab would drown in a few minutes, which raises the question: how did these monsters get to so many of the South Pacific's most isolated islands? This female carries the answer. Thousands of eggs, which will soon be left to the mercy of the ocean currents. A few shakes of her tail are all that's needed to send them on their way. The eggs will hatch immediately. Then the larvae will have just 50 days to find a new home above the water.
Losing its fear of humans has enabled one animal to spread into cities everywhere and in huge numbers. Pigeons are by far the most successful urban bird. Here in Albi in the south of France, the pigeons come to the river to bathe. They need to preen their flight feathers, clean off the city dust, and cool themselves down. But death lies in wait. A predator that has taken advantage of the very thing that has led to the pigeon's success: their lack of fear. As the pigeons bathe, oil from their plumage flows downstream and is detected. Monstrous Wells catfish. Introduced here just 40 years ago, they have proliferated, virtually exterminated the local fish stocks, and they've now developed a taste for pigeon. Their eyesight is poor, so they use their barbels to sense the movements of their victims. This is a radical new hunting strategy for what is normally a bottom-dwelling fish. After 1,000 years of living in this city, pigeons are now having to learn to avoid a fish.
As the new day dawns, we get our first glimpse into the lives of these secretive animals. They slept in the trees for safety. Now they're sunbathing to warm up.
That's beautiful footage, yeah.
She's having a good look at it, isn't she?
So this is basically her eyes now.
Yeah.
Whatever we see now, it's like through their eyes.
Yeah. Considering this has only been on overnight, she's not bothered by it, is she?
Not at all. So this one is grooming now.
Grooming is the way they socialise, so I think she might be a more dominant female.
It's wonderful to finally see the baboon's world. But will this teach Leah and Reno how to keep them off the crops?
Oh, fence.
Not even jumping over it, just going through it.
Yeah, just straight through. She pulled it down, didn't she? Went through. It's like it's not even there.
These fences, to be honest, I don't think you're going to stop them at all. My opinion.
Does anything put the baboons off? One of our cameras gives us a clue.
And now they're running.
Yeah.
Because now it's an open area.
Yeah.
It's a road.
Which suggests that they don't like being in it. That's definitely something that we can think about in terms of the crops.
Leah thinks an empty space around the crops would be a better barrier than a fence. And soon we get more inside information. The baboons are digging for water. It's dry season, so the rivers have dried up. But there is an easier way to get a drink. Why bother digging when there's a water trough?
Has the camera gone underwater?
Yeah.
Is it waterproof?
Has to be.
It gives Leah another idea.
I'm just thinking about, keeping water points away from the crops.
Yeah.
Because maybe having a water close to the crops is, drawing them in.
As it gets colder, one animal here gets stronger. Wolves. The winter is their time. Gradually, it weakens their prey. This is the Druid wolf pack, one of the largest and most powerful in Yellowstone. The pack have this bull elk surrounded. But there's a problem. The pack won't follow the bull into the river. They won't risk freezing to death in the ice-cold water. What's more, now the elk's antlers are at just the right height to keep the wolves at bay. It's stalemate. But it's now the elk that has a problem of his own. Although it's only knee-deep, he can't stay in this freezing water forever. A young female is not prepared to let him go. But the elk is strong. One-on-one, he has the advantage. Her only support is another youngster. They are neither strong or experienced enough to bring this elk down, but it's enough to make him turn and run. Back to the river, where he knows they won't follow. But the longer he stays in the freezing water, the weaker he will get. Others before him have waited here too long. And wolves are patient. Right now, his strength is his only advantage. He has to try again. This time, even the young wolves stay put. Without the support of the pack, they never really stood a chance. And the pack have already decided that this early in the winter, a bull elk in his prime is just too strong. But as the winter gets colder and the snow gets deeper, the tables will turn.
It's a particularly demanding place to grow up. The slopes are near vertical, and even the adults can get into trouble. But danger comes from elsewhere too. Eagles and wolves hunt here. So for protection, markhor live in herds. With extremely good eyesight and a strong sense of smell, it means there are more of them to spot any predators. Essential, especially when they're up against the most dangerous of them all. The ghost of the mountains, the elusive snow leopard. Brilliantly well camouflaged against the rocky outcrops, it's hard for the markhor to see. With huge, well-padded feet, it's hard for them to hear too. So sometimes, even the alert, ever-watchful markhor don't notice the threat. To survive, markhor kids have to be excellent mountaineers. and rely on their instincts. Having a watery exit strategy undoubtedly played a part. But it's their skill in escaping on vertical rock faces that helps them stay alive in the most menacing of mountain ranges.
These daring sea lions in Chile have become regulars at the fish markets. With great ingenuity and a little courage, they found a space for themselves in today's new wild. But not everyone necessarily welcomes them. Dogs patrol these beaches. But with around 2 million stray dogs in Chile, visiting these beaches for a sea lion is becoming rather dangerous. Sea lions are not used to this sort of threat. Dogs may be domesticated, but their pack instinct is still strong. They tackle the sea lions one at a time. Eventually, they force the sea lions back towards the sea. But all is not lost. The sea lions are familiar with the sound of these trolley wheels and know it will be worthwhile to follow. Leftovers from the markets are thrown back into the sea. For many wild mammals, surviving in the modern world requires a mixture of ingenuity, adaptability, and a helping hand from us, pikers. This young male has been awake all winter, living on the food reserves he built up last year. For him, summer can't come soon enough. As the sun's warmth returns for just a few weeks, this harsh world is transformed into a rich, high-altitude meadow. It's what all the pikers here have been waiting for almost 10 months. There's no time to waste. Ready, steady. Now they must collect as much food as quickly as they possibly can. But some of them seem in less of a hurry. clearly biding their time. The others are gathering leaves non-stop. They build haystacks, and that takes a lot of work. Each mouthful has to be carefully placed to allow the sunlight to dry it. They also add a few leaves from other plants that contain chemicals which will help preserve the hay during the winter. As many as 11,000 return journeys may be needed to build a reasonably large haystack. And then it has to be guarded against opportunistic neighbours. The weather is showing signs of changing. It's time to make a move. This pika specializes in stealing from its neighbors. Got away with it again.
A beaver can fell a cottonwood tree in just a few hours. Hundreds in a year. The beaver doesn't chew through the whole trunk, just enough to make the tree unstable. It then retreats and lets the wind do the rest. It cuts branches into more manageable lengths and then swims them down a network of purpose-built canals towards the dam. The pond gives this beaver protection from predators, and the canals allow it to forage far into the forest, carrying many times its own weight with ease. Autumn is the busiest time of year for beavers. It won't be so easy to make repairs when the pond is frozen over. The sound of running water is their stimulus to shore up gaps with timber and plug leaks with mud. But the dam not only serves the beavers. Moose come here from the forests around to feed on weeds that thrive in the beaver's shallow pond. The weed is rich in vital sodium that the forest can't easily provide. But now that winter is approaching, another essential role for the dam is revealed. These smaller branches are not for fixing the dam. They're for eating. the beaver secures them to the mud in the lake bottom. In just a few weeks, this lake will be frozen, and the beavers won't be able to cut and move trees, but they will be able to swim right under the ice to feed from this underwater larder. Moose also eat twigs and branches and often try to take advantage of the beaver's hard labor. This young male is getting a little too close to the beaver's larder. Autumn is not a time for sharing.
In Antarctica, the freeze-up has come in spectacular style. In winter, the continent doubles in size. It's now bigger than the USA. The giant lockup causes an urgent problem for one inhabitant: a Weddell seal. As the sea around her freezes, her breathing hole has begun to freeze over too. Without it, she'll suffocate. So she resorts to using her teeth to keep it open. But at least she has a retreat from the icy world above. The sea down here is a constant -2 degrees centigrade. That's over 50 degrees warmer than it is at the surface. And it's been like this for 25 million years. Beneath the layer of ice, this enchanted kingdom is protected from the extreme temperatures above. It's a wonderland of the strange and beautiful. In this safe, stable world, life explodes. But even here, winter cold can crash the party. As temperatures plummet on the surface, it triggers the growth of something sinister. This is a brinicle, supercooled water sinking from above, forming a pillar of ice. For the creatures of the seabed, it's a stealthy finger of death. A river of ice imprisons everything in its path. Even those that think they've beaten the extremes of winter can get caught out.